boss laughs, saying, "For someone abandoned by his own clan, he really thinks aloud himself." But Jinho just tells him to shut up already and come into the ring. The boss, tired of the talk, runs straight at him, bro. Our boy sees an opening in the leg and takes a low kick. But what? You thought it would be easy. The guy grabbed his foot, saying, "The kid's going to learn a lesson now." But again, what? You thought it would be easy. Our boy pulled the Beyblade move, started spinning, and landed one right on the side of the head. The boss looked a little dazed, but before he could recover, bam, one more under the chin. Man, the guy just wanted to fall, but the kid wasn't about to stop there. Takes another solid kick and stumbles back. With that, the boss hit the ground out cold. And our guy is still being dramatic since that's why he doesn't like using his leg much. Suddenly, the whole prison's already pulling out their apple slicers heading toward our boy because you can't even call those sticks knives, right man? But our dude stepped on the boss, pulled his arm, and warned. If they came any closer, this guy was going to need help eating for the rest of his life. With that, the bald heads all froze, not knowing what to say. Jinho stomped on the arm again and said he still saw a lot of people standing there. If they wanted to stop this, then call the guards. Right away, one of them takes off running, saying that when the guards come and free the boss, he's going to die. Apparently, in the end, all the guys surrendered and just carried the boss away. Sometime later in the cell, 172 wants to know how he did that, saying it was way too amazing. Not to mention, the kid looked like he had grown taller out of nowhere. What happened? The protagonist says it was the result of hauling rocks back and forth. But obviously that was the result of sensing his real-life stats with the games. It's the first time the protagonist brings his real-life body because it's more overpowered than the one from the game. You feel me? Usually it's always the guy who has a trash body and ends up in an amazing one. And now what our boy is impressed with are the stats. Zed Aaron, full of S-rank immunities. Bro, Immortal Duelist, Challenger rank, S-rank Archmage man. Grim has it all. What he finds strange is that his class is really mage. And because of that, he has 50% or less agility, strength, and resistance. And even though he's in the mage class, he literally has 0 mana. In other words, he's losing half of his attributes for absolutely nothing. Not to mention that this makes no sense because he belongs to the Arahan family, which is full of geniuses. Meanwhile, 172 is just staring, wondering what this lunatic is rambling about, laughing to himself. There's no way the guy is lying on the bed, trying to figure out how it's possible he reincarnated into such a garbage body. But first, he needs to calm down and start considering his options. He's got that so-called growth penalty, which is what's cutting 50/50ths. But even then, it's still better than 0. Not to mention, physical strength is something he knows how to develop even better. Its only obvious problem is that the food there is terrible and isn't helping at all. What he's curious to understand better is this whole pile of S-rank talents. If he had all that and could have mana, then he'd be completely busted. An Archmage's blessing like that is for very few people. But it's all good. He's going to try to find a way to solve this no-mana issue. There's got to be some solution right then. Suddenly, the guy from outside the cell starts calling out several numbers. Everyone called is forced to leave the cell. He asks, "What's going on?" And 172 says, "Those are the people in the death coup, bro. Basically, they'll have one last meal and then it's goodbye." He says he gets it, then asks the friend's name. To the sadness of some and the joy of others, the name is Ryu. So yeah, he really is a friend. And our boy introduces himself as Zed Aaron. Aaron's a pretty ugly name. So from now on, I'm calling him Zed. 'Cause Zed is badass. You feel me? Zed asks Ryu if he's going to be in prison long, who says he'll be escaping soon. Protagonist wants to know how. He says it's simple. The guard up front has a key. Zed thinks he's going to steal it, but Ryu says it's impossible. The guy may be retired, but he's a 5-circle knight. Director Clark is the epitome of a knight who hates mages. That's because in the world of Last Savior, knights and mages hate each other. And now Zed's wondering how he's going to escape this place that's guarded by a 5-circle person. Weird. This is the first time I've seen circles used for someone who doesn't use magic. Then Ryu says it's not that hard. You just have to steal it without him noticing. For someone who came from the streets, that's easy. The only problem is that Clark's very attentive. So far, he hasn't seen a single opportunity. Zed smiles and says now he really sees a way to escape this place. The next day, work is about to start again, and one of the guards announces that by orders of the boss, they'll have to carry even more rocks today. The people are complaining, saying, "It's not going to work. Soon, everyone's going to die." The guard puts a sword to someone's neck, and one of the bald guys says he just wants to know why they're pushing them so hard. There's no reason for this. The guard looks to the side and says they should already know whose fault it is. Obviously, everyone stares at Zed. And then the guard coughs and says he'll be back in a few minutes. 172 warns him that clearly they're setting him up for the others to jump him. Oh yeah, our protagonist already noticed that these knights who follow the code of honor are acting very differently than they should. While Ryu is off running, he's not getting involved in this, but it looks like he's got some kind of plan because he says he's not going to let Zed die. Obviously, all the inmates are coming to the same conclusion. To make the work easier, they're going to have to kill Zed. The protagonist smiles and says it really is an unavoidable situation. All the thugs rush toward him, saying he's way too confident. But as soon as the first one comes in, Bam hits Welcome with a knee to the chin. Bowling Ball drops to the floor, and everyone's scared now, wondering who's going to be the next crazy one to charge in. But Zen just says for them to all come at him at once already. And there goes the crew again. But the first one that comes is again met with a hammer blow to the head while he's throwing elbows and smashing. Zed is pissed that these bastards keep coming one by one, and then another and another instead of just attacking him altogether. Another one falls to the ground, and he says, "These guys are really lacking aggression." And just as he notices something, he ducks just in time and dodges an attack. Another knee and more headbutts, punches. It's a full-on brawl everywhere. And from a distance, Ryu was watching all this. The boy was leaving a trail of bodies on the ground. He had no idea Zed was this strong. But right at that moment, someone next to him calls out to Ryu and tells him to come along. Meanwhile, Zed is already drop-kicking guys in the stomach. As always, they pull out those 3 centimeters knives, which I mean are big enough, impressive, even. At least that's what she said. But Zed already lands one on the next guy's face, telling him again to come at him with everything. And obviously, at that point, he was having fun. The guy fought his whole life. So, if there's one thing he likes, it's having his life on the line. There's nothing better than dodging an attack that could have killed you. That adrenaline was what got him so addicted both to that game and to martial arts. He hits one more in the chin, another in the back of the neck while going crazy, bro. Clearly not right in the head, obviously, until someone steps on his back and calls out for the damn Zed Aaron. Imagine Bu grabs the cracked-out albino kid Bu and tells him that if he doesn't stop, his friend's going to die. Obviously, yeah, Ryu had been captured. But our boy just smiles and says they made a huge mistake. Ryu was trying to